evening and welcome to Hatching for Health, the Jessica Hatch Show. This evening we're going to be joined by a guest from Glimmer of Hope, who is actually the founder and executive director. But first, I wanted to let you guys know for the first giveaway for Hatching for Health, Brittany has won a charcuterie board by Eat, Pray Charcuterie. So she'll be receiving that this week, and we will announce what the giveaway is next week in our social media, so be sure and tune in to all of Hatching for Health's social media so you can learn what that will be, and we will announce it on a future episode. So we're going to be joined by Allie, again from Glimmer of Hope. Now she has donated and shipped American ball dolls to almost every U.S. state, in addition to countries such as Scotland, Venezuela. She's executive director and passionate about raising awareness for pediatric childhood cancer. And she's even advocated by going to Congress on 2 occasions to try and get more funding for the cancer research. So Allie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jessica. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, this is incredible what you're doing. I mean, there are so many children and families that just must be honored to be able to connect with you and have you supporting them, and obviously sending out these beautiful dolls that, you know, are able to mimic what they're going through. So tell me a little bit about how this started for you.
So I've been a childhood cancer advocate for the past 9 years, and that started when a friend of my sister's was diagnosed with leukemia in elementary school. And through her, I was connected with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and I ended up being their Student of the Year, raising over $50,000 in 6 weeks. And through that, I reconnected with an old friend, Ella. She was 11 at the time and had just been diagnosed with leukemia, and we just became completely inseparable, like little sister and big sister. And she completely inspired me. She actually wrote a letter to American Girl when she first lost her hair, asking them to create a bald doll. And so she is the reason behind Glimmer of Hope and why we do what we do.
That's incredible. So 11 years old, she was diagnosed with leukemia, and you guys were already friends, you know, and had this relationship built when that happened, or did you meet her after the diagnosis?
So we knew of each other. We went to the same elementary school, but we were 5 years apart, so we didn't exactly run in the same crowds.
Yeah.
But I ran into her in a local jewelry store one day, and I was hosting a runway show called Runway for a Cure. And I asked her if she wanted to be a part of it, and she was kind of like, who is this girl? But she decided to take the leap, and I've been so close with her family ever since.
Oh, that's incredible. So I guess the diagnosis must have come pretty strong. I mean, so you were saying you're 5 years older, so you were like 16 at the time when this diagnosis happened for her?
Yeah, I was around 16 or 17, and she was 11 or 12.
I think as children and youth, like we don't even understand at that age that something like this could even happen. You know, we think of a lot of times diseases, you know, come later in life. So, or at, you know, a very, very young age to where you don't even understand it. But at 11, I mean, you understand, your friends understand. I mean, what was that like as a new friendship?
You know, I think it's a really difficult time, especially, I mean, at any age, but especially at that age, because you're kind of going through puberty, you're making the transition to middle school and high school. And I mean, losing your hair is such it can be a really big part of your identity, and growing up being self-conscious, I think that's really hard for a lot of kids. So since Ella was an only child, I kind of took on that big sister role for her, and although I have another little sister, so I can't leave her out, but being like a big sister to Ella was truly such an honor to kind of, you know, help her through this difficult time.
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure that was, it was huge. The timing was probably everything for her. And so she was, you know, going through leukemia, and you're saying that she took a moment to write a letter, because that company's been around for a long time. It's called American Doll, right?
American Girl. It was
American
originally the plastic company. They were, I believe, in the 1970s they came out.
Okay, and the dolls they're like much larger than a normal baby doll, you know, that you would buy, right? They're kind of like,
Yeah,
you know,
they're
size
about
of,
18 inches. The
okay.
dolls.
So she wrote a letter to the company, you know, wanting them to create some that were bald, like as though they were, you know, patients going through cancer.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So she had a doll of her own that had hair, and she said the first thing she thought of when she was shaving her head was that she wasn't going to look like her doll anymore. And she said she thought that other little girls would think the same exact thing, and that it would help them feel more confident and courageous through their battle to have a doll that represented them.
That's a great point. And so in that, I guess in that moment, is this where you got involved and, you know, thought like there's got to be a glimmer of hope in something. Well, for children with cancer, of course, the glimmer of hope is having them be cured. But then tying this in and being able to, you know, kind of reward children through that journey. So is that, tell me about when that moment happened and you actually started the foundation.
Yeah, so I actually got involved a few years later after Ella wrote that letter. So Ella, I went through 2.5 years of treatment, and she was in remission for about 9 months, and then she ended up relapsing in April of 2019, and she fought so hard. She really was the bravest and just most amazing person I've ever met in my life. And unfortunately, in August 2019, Ella had some complications with her leukemia, and she ended up passing away. So after that, that was the first kind of big bout of grief I've ever gone through in my life, and still continue to go through. And I was talking to her mom one day about how I wanted to start a foundation, but I wasn't really sure. I wanted to do something that hadn't been done before. And she brought up the American Girl doll, and she said Ella named her doll Hope. So that's the reason behind the name Glimmer of Hope. So we started in July of 2020.
Okay, that's not very long ago. Yeah, you're going on your first year this July. Okay,
Yeah.
and even her passing, I didn't realize this was all so recent. I'm sure there's still a lot of mourning, and so you're very close with the family, obviously.
Yeah, I'm very close with her parents, and actually her birthday is coming up on Friday. February 26th would be her 16th birthday, so we're doing a lot of fundraisers and awareness for that.
Wow, a happy heavenly birthday. So how old would she have been?
She would have been 16 this year.
Man. So are her parents involved with anything? Are they, I mean, I'm sure all this has been extremely hard on them, but I also know that a lot of times the parents are the ones who create foundations and organizations and on behalf of their children. But is the mom or dad, I guess, just probably a big support to Glimmer of Hope?
Definitely, they're huge supporters. They literally support every single fundraiser and every single thing we do. And you know, when we first started, I thought that they might start their own nonprofit, so I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to intrude on anything. So although Ella was my inspiration behind the foundation, I didn't come outright and start using her picture or her name just for the family's like privacy.
Of course.
And eventually her mom asked me if I could share her story and her story about the doll, and it just turned into what it is now, and now her parents are very active in supporting the foundation, so I really appreciate that.
I bet that worked out really nicely. If so with children that want to have one of these dolls, do they like reach out to you guys, or how do they get in touch, or is it just directly something they purchase on the website of American Doll?
So there's an application on our website actually, and they fill that out, and that's how we come in contact with, I want to say, 99% of the children that we donate dolls to. And then we order the dolls from American Girl, and they get shipped directly to the families. And we also have some dolls at my house in Rhode Island, so if we have any local children, we can deliver them in person if they're comfortable with that.
Oh, that's really cool. So these are, they're manufactured by them the same way. It's just that y'all's foundation basically takes on the cost associated to get them, to the individuals once they've either connected with you guys through their website, which is glimmerofhopefoundation.org.
Yes.
Or they, somehow, I guess, connect another way, but it sounds like that's the most common. So leukemia in itself, that particular, because I know there's so many different types of cancer, is that a more common one, like pediatric wise on the children's side?
Yeah, leukemia is a very common pediatric cancer. It's actually the most common, but unfortunately that doesn't mean it's the most curable, as people say. Every cancer has a different prognosis, but it really depends on the child, and unfortunately we see children pass away from leukemia. 7 children pass away of childhood cancer every single day, so we never say that one cancer is the good or the bad cancer. They're all pretty much equal in my mind. Cancer, nothing's good about cancer, so.
Yeah, of course not. So obviously your inspiration in starting was, your friend. I think what she was going through, and losing that battle is, the worst of it. But it sounds like this was, something that you were passionate about, just in general, like being a friend of hers and living next to her through it, and then the going into remission and then coming back. I think that's got to be even more difficult than, someone not making it to get to a remission part. You think you're cured, and then to go back and have them say that, you've got to begin again. So how many dolls have you guys actually been able to donate?
So we've donated over 100 dolls. We just hit 100 dolls, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and now we are at about 110. And we've also donated almost 100 care packages to boys, teenagers, young adults that are battling cancer as well.
Oh, that is so good. So you kind of incorporated a way to share something with boys as well. And we're going to take a quick commercial break actually. And what I love is that you have provided us some of the footage where we are able to even see some of these children opening the gifts and the smiles that it brings to their face. So we will be right back with you and talk more about Glimmer of Hope when we get back from this commercial break. Hi, I'm Jessica Hatch, the host of Hatching for Health. We are a show that was brought about to create awareness for children with rare diseases, disabilities, and disorders with hopes of finding cures. We are looking for doctors that would like to participate in being on our episodes and possibly even bring their own patients on the show to talk about how they have helped cure them, whether it's been surgically or through medication, or any sorts of ways. We think that it's very inspiring for others to learn these stories and to possibly help somebody else. So I encourage you to reach out if you are a doctor who is interested in being on the show and allowing us to highlight not only you, but the work that you've done for a child. You can reach out by emailing at info@hatchingforhealth.org. That's info@hatchingforhealth.org, and we look forward to hearing from you. Imagine hearing the news as a parent that your child has been diagnosed with a condition that is degenerative or life-threatening. Now imagine being told that there's little to no research for the condition that even exists, making it difficult to try and figure out what to do next. The reality is that for so many rare conditions, finding specialists who understand the condition and being able to make informed treatment decisions for their child is very challenging. Each episode, I will help with my network of physicians and medical resources across the U.S. to attempt to connect the dots by bringing widespread recognition of rare conditions and connecting families to the best treatment, clinical experts, resources, and support. I'm going to highlight these hard-to-diagnose diseases and offer in-depth awareness for families of children in the rare disease community. I believe we are all in charge of our own healthcare, and pushing for answers and creating awareness for these various rare health conditions can make the world around us a better place. Not only am I a huge advocate who seeks to spearhead the fight to bring rare conditions to the forefront of research, but I personally had my own rare condition. In this rare condition, I was able to be cured of due to early detection. My passion to help others was fueled by that experience, and it has led me to start the Hatching for Health show. Now, this show is a vehicle for us to create awareness to help these children find cures.
I'm taking a video. You gotta open it.
Open it. Open it. Wow.
Oh my God.
What is it? Looks just like you. Wow. What do you say to Allie? Is your
Look at that, Audrey. Isn't that sweet? Oh, you like the baby? Looking good, Indy. You got your backpack? and your wristband? And show me, what does your baby have?
Backpack.
Your baby has a backpack?
Thank you so much, Alan. You're amazing.
She's what?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you for this. I'm so excited. I've always wanted one of these. Thank you, Allie and Allie, for my very brave cancer doll. Thank you.
Ooh. Good job. Can you tell him thank you?
Thank you.
You gonna tell him how much you love your baby doll?
I love you, baby doll.
Welcome back from the commercial break. I really enjoyed being able to see some of that video footage of Glimmer of Hope and what they're doing with these care packages, as well as these beautiful dolls that can mimic, these little girls. So back with Allie here, who is the owner of Glimmer of Hope. So we want to learn a little bit about you. For a woman, as young as you are, going out and starting a foundation like this and just kind of inspiring others in doing so. Kind of tell us about, just you and what you're doing in life in addition to this foundation.
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. I can't say I am the average 20-year-old. I'm a junior in college right now. I go to the University of Rhode Island, and I'm a triple major in global business, German, and human development and family sciences. So I'm actually doing a 5-year program while running Glimmer of Hope on the side. And then I also go twice a year to Washington, D.C. right now to advocate to Congress members about funding for pediatric cancer, and that's something I've also gotten into over Zoom during the pandemic. We've been able to advocate. So pediatric cancer awareness is just so tied into my life, and it's something that I hope that will continue for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, going all the way to Congress to try and, that's going right to the source of being able to get more funding, because a lot of these children, I would assume it's paid for through insurance to an extent, but I think there's a lot of it, it's uncontrollable when your child gets diagnosed, and if you don't have the funding personally as a family, you need the government backing you. Is that kind of what it boils down to? Is the government actually taking a hand in it when they can't afford it?
Yeah, it has to do with that, and also the fact that we need money for research to go into child-specific chemotherapy and different medications for children. So right now there's actually no child-specific chemotherapy, so children are given essentially adult chemotherapy in smaller doses, which is why it has such a harsh effect on their bodies.
Oh, wow.
And that's because we only receive 4% of federal funding from the National Cancer Institute. So adult cancers, not that they're any less important, but they receive 96%, while childhood cancer is grouped into one group with 12 different cancers and over 100 subtypes that only receives 4% of funding. So that's what we're trying to increase.
Yeah, that needs it. I would have never known that. So they haven't specifically, come across, or I guess develop cancer treatments that were specific to the children, or are specific, I should say. They're just saying, okay, this is an adult, they're of this size and weight, let's just give the child that same type of chemo or whatever, radiation, and assume it's going to work, I guess, similarly. Is that kind of what you're saying? The 96% of the funds is just doing that?
Yeah, essentially. And there's only been 4 new drugs developed for childhood cancer specifically since the 1980s. So that's what that 4% does, essentially, because it's not enough.
Yeah, so that's huge that you're doing that. Is there other groups out there that are going as far as you are with that you've, I guess, worked to align yourself with to kind of create, more of an impact in numbers, really?
Absolutely. So I have worked on behalf of the Alliance for Childhood Cancer organization. That was my first time advocating. I went to the Alliance for Childhood Cancer Action Days in Washington, D.C. And then I also go to CureFest, which is in part with the Raleigh Foundation. That's who organizes the advocating on Capitol Hill. And then I've recently gotten involved with the American Childhood Cancer Organization, who also has advocacy Zoom calls every month. And we're currently working together to have a childhood cancer license plate in Rhode Island, so that more funds can be raised for this.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So if you have a child that's been diagnosed, like, you would have a license plate kind of representing that? Is that?
Yeah, anyone can get them. It's just like
supporting it. It shows that you're supporting it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's license plates for different organizations, and that's essentially what the goal is for childhood cancer, to raise more awareness and more funds.
That's a great idea. I guess so. I mean, with the schooling that you're currently doing, like the triple major, very extensive. What is your goals, like, ultimately for Glimmer of Hope?
I have a lot of goals for Glimmer of Hope. I'm hoping, one of my biggest goals is that I want to have hope rooms in different hospitals around the country, that the American Girl dolls are there for these kids if they want one, and that also provides resources and meals to families going through treatment inpatient at the hospital. That's one of my bigger goals. And honestly, to just grow the organization so that awareness can be spread, and hopefully Glimmer of Hope can extend and become a part of that advocacy on Capitol Hill. So it's not only me, that it's the whole organization involved.
Of course. And you mentioned earlier before the break about the gift packages or care packages that you guys put together, and y'all do that additionally for boys. What are some of the things that y'all will put together for them?
There's a ton of different things, because we send care packages to children and dolls for children that are just babies to ages 26, because you can be in a pediatric cancer unit essentially until you're 26 years old. So a lot of toys for the younger kids. We have an abundance of toys, and for the older kids, I just sent one the other day, and we sent a bunch of snacks, we sent watercolors, we sent a Nintendo Switch. That's been a big thing that kids have wanted lately. We try to send bigger things sometimes, like, I don't know, an Amazon Echo or AirPods when we can. But a lot of our care packages rely on donations from our Amazon wish list.
Okay. Yeah, so if someone's wanting to donate, that is done, I guess, through, you mentioned the Amazon wish list is one place. And so they go on and would type in, like, how exactly does that work?
Yeah, so on our website, glimmerofhopefoundation.org, if you go under make a donation, you can make a monetary donation, you can make a monthly donation, you can sponsor a doll, you can sponsor a care package, and there's another option to shop our Amazon wish list. So that link takes you directly to Amazon, and it's all the items that we essentially are in need of at the moment, which at the time is mostly for teenagers and young adults. And somebody can purchase those items and they get shipped directly to us and go directly into our care packages.
That's great. So I guess who's kind of been your biggest supporter? Do y'all have any direct partnerships or alliances that have really just kind of, again, been a big support, or is it just more of the individual masses, understanding what you're doing and wanting to donate?
I mean, I've had so many people reach out and help me that are involved in organizations. I can't even begin to name all of them, but a few are Talia's Legacy Childhood Cancer Foundation. If you're familiar with Talia Joy, she was a makeup guru. She was on the Ellen Show, and her sister and I connected through advocating, and they have been a huge help. another one is the Izzy Foundation in Rhode Island. Erin, who's the executive director, has been such a mentor to me through Glimmer of Hope, and of course my mom, who helps out with everything. She has just been amazing. And then we also have a board of 6 women that are around the same age as me who are tremendous in helping, and we also just created a junior board with 10 teenagers.
Really? So you're not even a year in, you've got a board, you said, of 6 kind of board of directors, and then a junior board that's been developed? Okay. And so a lot of that, what they're doing is volunteering and helping, you know, with the packages and I guess coordinating different things when you have events, is that right?
Yeah, so the board does everything from making the care packages to social media to helping with our fundraisers, and then the junior board is fairly new, but they essentially plan their own fundraisers for the foundation. So they're currently working on a virtual cabaret called Cabaret for a Cure, and that's going to be over Zoom. And that's something that I'm really excited about. All the performers are going to be childhood cancer survivors or fighters. Oh wow, you
have to let us know so we can tune into that. Yeah. So I guess with COVID, has there been a lot of situations where you've still maximized, you know, opportunities to do Zoom events or fundraisers? Has that been more the direction that y'all have gone?
Yes, we have. I mean, we started in the midst of the pandemic, so everything we've done has essentially been over social media. One of our most recent fundraisers we are currently doing until the end of February is we're selling butterfly earrings. So one of my signs and a lot of Ella's friends and family signs for her is a butterfly. So we're selling butterfly earrings for her 16th birthday, and we're seeing where all the butterflies flew around the world and around the country.
What a cute idea. Yeah,
I can't take credit for that. My associate director, Allie, came up with the little card for the butterfly earrings. So that's been a really fun one. And then I'm currently working on an Instagram auction called Aspire Auction, and we're getting all small businesses to donate items, and then we're going to auction them off on Instagram, and with all the proceeds going to the foundation. Very cool. Those butterfly earrings, I might have to purchase some of those too. We'll bring some right here to Houston, wear them next week on the show. That's a cute idea, really cute, like where they've all flown around the world. So, you know, as someone who, you know, had a loved one and experienced cancer, and even, you know, not be able to survive it in the end, I guess what piece of advice would you have for other people that have a loved one going through it, or maybe have recently lost somebody as well? You know, it doesn't necessarily get easier, you just learn how to live with it. And I think something that has come out of that for me is inspiring people through grief. We all go through pain in our lives, and we're all essentially going to go through some grieving process in our lives. So just bonding together and realizing that we're not so different is really important. And every type of pain has a purpose, and my purpose through my pain is Glimmer of Hope. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing like Glimmer of Hope. Just I think the biggest thing that I've learned is being kind to others and never taking something for granted. So just getting up every day and trying to make an impact in honor of someone that's passed in your life is just really important. Yeah, that's beautiful. I think, like you said, every pain has a purpose. That's a great way to put it. So we're so thankful for you, Allie, for being a part of today's episode and just, you know, kind of sharing your journey with what you've gone through with a dear friend, and how it's inspired you to create Glimmer of Hope. So for any of you wanting to donate or buy a pair of the beautiful, you know, earrings they're currently selling, have a doll sent to one of your loved ones that is, you know, dealing with pediatric cancer, please visit glimmerofhopefoundation.org and support. That's what we all do, and Hatching for Health is here to create awareness for any rare disease, including pediatric cancer, which is not quite so rare. So thank you, Allie, and we look to keep in touch with you. Thank you so much for having me, Jessica.
Wonderful. And thank you all for tuning in to another episode. And we will be right back here next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m.